It's become an integral part of my life. It's a cornerstone of my success in medical school. It's changed the way I study. It's changed the way I memorize things. It's changed the way I retain information. Hi guys, your boy Tin here, fourth year medical student. Today I just want to share like a momentous turning point for me in my life. It's just a great milestone. I hit 1,000 days of Anki. I started the second week of medical school and I've been using Anki ever since, every single day, never really stopped. And here's what I learned. First of all, Anki is not a learning tool. It's something I had to come to deal with, and I realized, and the mistake I make early on, you need to put the extra information and you need to learn the information first before starting your Anki cards. You gotta do Anki as reviews only, not as a first pass, not as a way to learn things. So put this extra section to get used and add a lot of information that will help clarify the mechanism, the pathophysiology, screenshot tables and flowcharts, and just put it in the extra section. You don't have to glance at it every single time you encounter the card, but because you might not see the card like 6 months later, 8 months later, and when you do it, you might forget how it works. You're like, why do you get insulin resistance in diabetes type 2 patients? You might just forget it, and you have the pathophys and information in an extra section. You can relearn it. Otherwise, you're gonna have to spend time looking up the web and everything. You need background information and mechanisms to every piece of information that's presented to you on the card. So don't just brute force memorize everything. If there's relevant cards with similar information, make sure you put that into and synthesize information into the extra section also. For example, there's a card that said patients with abdominal aortic aneurysm have a 25% chance of having concurrent popliteal aneurysm. And then there's another card that also tells you this, pretty much the same thing the other way. Patients with popliteal aneurysm will usually have 90% chance of having a concurrent abdominal aneurysm. So these two factors, this is how you synthesize information. Make sure you put that other card into the extra section of the original card, and vice versa. This way, when you encounter both cards, you don't have to look them up in the browser. It's everywhere. This way you have them all into one card. Second thing I learned is that close deletion is really trash. It makes the card easier and faster to do, but it actually doesn't require you to think that much. And active recall, the key to active recall is the harder you work, the more likely you retain the information. So all too often, like, I actually found myself just memorizing the syntax and like actually how the sentence sounds, like for close deletion cards, especially with Zonky, original Zonky and Anki cards too. So you can use close style cards, which is what I still use the close style cards, but I actually put it in question forms. I rewrite it. So make sure you delete those mnemonics from the stem of the questions, like hard ass, like the normal anion gap, metabolic acidosis. It's like literally the question stem have all this mnemonic in there, and then you just gotta list everything. Just take out the mnemonic. So just say what are the causes of metabolic acidosis with normal anion gap. Don't put a mnemonic in there. Third of all, Premade Decks are literally the penultimate student socialism here. It's like everyone shares the wealth. I love it. And medical students just working together as a collective to improve the education system and the general education for the masses. I love it. This is how students should be. We should not be, like cutting each other's throat and trying to one-up one another. We should all be striving to better ourselves and help others to get better too as physicians. We have a bunch of good physicians, better than just one really good physicians. There are literally decks for everything that you want to know. I'm working my way through my third medical Spanish deck right now. Not that my medical Spanish is great or anything, but I know some phrases and vocabs. I'm also keeping up with a geography deck because I come to realize that I totally forgot all the states and their geographical locations on the United States map. So when you tell me like the northeast or northwest, I kind of don't really know where those states are. So I had to get an Anki deck to help me remember those things, and it's great. Now I actually know where everything is: Arkansas, Kansas, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Missouri, everything. I'm like, if I play that game with friends where you have to sit down and write down all the 50 states, I can probably do it. Another thing is that being able to study anywhere is a godsend. This is what I love about Anki, is that you can literally study anywhere you want. You don't need to bring your notes with you. You don't need to bring your iPad with you. You don't need to bring your binder full of stuff. You don't need to bring your textbook. You can just open up the app on your phone and study. So need to take your girlfriend shopping but feel guilty about not studying? No problem. Waiting in line at Chick-fil-A while on lunch break and feel guilty about not studying? No big deal. So paying $25 for the iOS app was probably one of the best investments. So in conclusion, I am still using my Anki app every single day, and I plan on using it all the way through, my careers as a physician. Because this is how I retain information and keep all the information fresh in my mind as I act upon it. As a lifelong learner, there's no better tool than using Anki. Spaced repetition, active recall is simply one of the best and cheapest resource out there for students and physicians alike. On the computer, it's free. On the PC or Mac, you don't need to pay $25 for the app if you don't want to. It's free on the computer. Thanks for watching. Until next time, it's your boy 10.